Amazing day to all. This is your amazing guru, teacher Dan Rugayan, and welcome to another episode of our Let Review Rationalization. So this time, we will be answering another 10 questions for Gen Ed, and this will be focusing on Gen Ed Science. Samahan ninyo ako, no? I hope you have your paper and pen with you para sabayan ninyo ako sa pagsasagot ng ating mga tanong. Then afterwards, we will reveal the answer and rationalize them. So let me first share my slide. Okay. So this is the part 4 no, of our Gen Ed rationalization series. So I hope handa ng lahat. No? So bahagi ito ng ating paghahanda sa inyong upcoming board examination for professional. Of course, my fervent prayer is that you will all pass the board exam. Mahan ninyo ng pagsisikap at pagtsatsaga ang inyong mga panalangin. God will actually grant the desires of your heart. So let's start. First question. Use in spreading the flame of the alcohol lamp. B. Hot plate. B. Bunsen burner. C. Watch glass. D. Wire gauze. What do you think is the answer? Of course, that is wire gauze. So wire gauze is actually the the material, the laboratory apparatus that you can actually use to spread the flame, especially if you are, for example, burning substances in the laboratory using either cooker or flask. No? So you can see from our slide the different laboratory apparatuses. So we have the hot plate, which is electronic. You can put here your beaker, no? Or yeah, your beaker, no, for boiling, for example, liquid substances. You can also use Bunsen burner. If for example you also would like to no a certain substances in your experiment, then this is the wire gauze which actually use no spreading the flame of the either Bunsen burner or your alcohol lamp, which actually contains asbestos here. And of course your watch glass, where you can actually put some solid substances for observation or for weighing. Right? So that's the first question. Second, pure water freezes at lamp A 0 degrees Celsius, 10 degrees Celsius, B 37 degrees Celsius, or letter D 100 degrees Celsius. Yan ang sagot natin. Siyempre, no, pag freezing of water, that is 0 degrees Celsius. 0 degrees Celsius is the freezing point of water, which is of course equivalent to 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 270 degrees Celsius. So this is part no, of your temperatures. You have Fahrenheit, Celsius or centigrade, and Kelvin as our common temperatures. Third, water dripping continuously from the cave will eventually produce a long ice-like deposit of calcites which hangs from the roof. This is called A. Stalactite, stalagmite, C. Sinks, D. Geode. What is the answer? Future LPDs. No? That is letter A, stalactite. So because ang tinatanong dito is those that hangs from the roof or from the ceiling. So this is the stalactites and stalagmites. So pag sinabing stalactites, nasa ceiling or nasa roof. So letter C here, that particular C, no, ang magiging ang context natin or keyword natin would be ceiling. Pag stalagmite naman, this letter G from the ground. So yung nasa mga ground, nasa baba, these are stalagmites, and those which hangs from the roof or in the ceiling are actually your stalagmites. This is part of your of the study of caves. And when you actually go from one cave to another, you're actually doing spelling. So I know some of you already have experienced visiting caves, or doing spelling. Snorkeling, however, naman is when you actually swim, using your snorkel with swim fins, even, no? So that is part of your aquatic activity, no? When you go, for example, island hopping. Okay. So fourth question, which is not true regarding metals? A, metals are malleable and ductile. B, metals have high tensile strength. C, metals are good conductors of heat. D, metals are poor reflectors of light. So the question is asked, which is not true. So the not here is emphasized, which is not true among the options. Of course, metals are malleable and ductile. Tama naman, di ba? Metals have high tensile strength. Metals are good conductors. Letter B is the answer. Metals are poor reflectors of light. Actually, as a matter of fact, metals are good, no? Reflectors of light. So mataas ang kanyang reflexivity, kaya meron siyang luster or it has an ability to shine. So these are some of the properties of metal na pwedeng lumabas, no, sa inyong board exam. Usually tinatanong yung ductility and malleability. So pag nakita niyo sa board exam, metals can be stretched into thin wires. What property of metal is that? Ductility or being ductile. So thin wires, ductility. Then metal can be compressed into thin sheets, malleability. All right? So ductility, thin wires, malleability. Luster, of course, the ability to shine or to be lustrous, no? Metals are known for their shine and this is utilized in materials like jewelry. Metals can also be heat conductive, no? And strong, no? And in terms of metallic bonds, can break down and reform, and of course, electrically conductive. So metals band allow for good conductivity of electricity. So metals are really good conductors of electricity. Okay? Next, number 5, an atom of element calcium has mass number of 40 and atomic number of 20. What is the number of protons and neutrons of this atom? So this is more of your subatomic particles, right? So letter A, 40 protons and 20 neutrons. 20 protons and 20 neutrons. C, 40 protons and 40 neutrons. B, 20 protons and 40 neutrons. So again, the element is calcium with mass number or atomic mass of 40 and atomic number. What is the answer, teachers? Yan ay letter B, 20 protons and 20. Tatandaan nyo, no, we have our major, no? Three major subatomic particles. These are the three subatomic particles. Our proton, the positively charged, no? Subatomic particles. Electron, the negatively charged subatomic particles. And your neutron, which are neutral. So no charge. So the question here is the number of the subatomic particles. Remember, if, for example, in the given question, no, nabigay yung atomic number, for example, in this case is 20, atomic number is actually equivalent to the number of protons and electrons. Okay? Kasi walang charge yung atom eh. So, if the atomic number is 20, that means to say the protons and electrons are also. In this case, the protons is 20. Okay? Now, pag given ulit yung ating atomic mass, para makuha natin neutron, ang gagawin lang natin is, we're going to subtract the atomic mass minus the atomic numbers. 40 minus 20 is 20. So that is 20. So to further rationalize, again, this is how an atom looks like. So nasa tawag dito, nucleus, no? Matatagpuan yung ating proton and neutron. So in the nucleus of the atom, you can find the proton and neutron. So baka tanongin sa board exam, so makikita yung proton and neutron, it's in the nucleus. So pag tinawag silang dalawa, no, if we want to call them together, we call them nucleon. Right? Now, where can we find the electron? So that is outside the nucleus, no, in an in orbital such as this one. So this are actually electrons. No? So moving around. So these are in orbitals outside the. So say for example here we have the helium atomic element helium H2. So the number here in the superscript and the subscript and the superscript, that is your atomic mass. No? And earlier cited that your atomic mass is equivalent to your number of protons and to the number of electrons. Now, if we're going to get the atomic mass, we will just add the protons and neutrons, no? Kaya meron tayong atomic mass. Atomic number is equivalent to protons. So if you want to get, for example, the number of neutrons, atomic mass minus protons or minus atomic number. Okay, so for example here, our atomic number is 2. How many electrons? 2. How many protons? 2. How many neutrons? 4 minus 2 is 2. So our neutrons is 2. So neutrons, 2 plus protons, 2 is 4. So the atomic mass is. Okay, sana na-gets nyo yun, no? I will have another video, no, for subatomic particles. So we will have some drills, no, about that. But before I leave this question, I'd like to have another drill dito. So say, for example, we have boron as our chemical element, and the atomic number is 5. Tell me the number of protons. That's correct, 5. Tell me the number of electrons. That's correct, 5. How about the number of neutrons? Okay, the answer is 6. So how did we come up with 6? So remember the atomic mass here is 10.81 or 11. 11 minus 5, no? So atomic mass minus atomic number or minus your proton is equivalent to 6. 6 is your neutron. Neutron plus proton, 6 plus 5 is 11. The atomic mass here is 11. The neutron is 6. And the protons and electrons are 5 respectively. Okay? Sixth question. According to the scientific definition of work, pushing a table accomplishes no work unless there is blank. A, an opposing force. B, a net force greater than 0. C, an applied force greater than its weight. D, movement in the same direction as the. What is the answer? All right, so that is letter D. So we are actually trying to see the definition of work here. So when you push a table, there is no work unless there is a movement in the same direction as the force. So work will only be done if there is a movement in the same direction. Okay? Say, you can see here, no, sabi, when is work done? Kailan ba? So the force and motion of the object have to be in the same direction. There must be some movement in the direction of the force for it to be considered work. Okay? So tatandaan nyo yan. There should be a movement in the direction of the force. Sige nga, drill tayo. Tignan ninyo nga kung may work na nagawa sa mga sumusunod na situation. First, a bear applies a force to a wall and becomes exposed. Is there a work done here? Wala, because there is no movement in the same direction of the force. So there is no work done. How about in the second situation? A rocket accelerates through space. The force, and there is actually a movement in the same direction. So, work. Tandaan nyo yan, teachers. Okay, next question. Which blood type has neither anti-A or anti-B and can receive blood from anyone? Ito, paborito rin tinatanong sa board exam ito sa Gen Ed Science. So what is the answer? It can receive blood from anyone. So kahit ano, pwede niyang i-receive na blood type. So that is AB. No? So blood type AB. No? So AB, no, specifically the type AB positive, is considered to be the universal recipient. So pag sinabing universal recipient, every blood type, no, pwede niyang ma-receive. So it can actually receive any blood type. Pag naman tinanong sa board exam, what is the blood type which is considered as a universal donor, that is type O, specifically type O negative. Okay, so tatandaan itong dalawang concept na to sa Gen Ed. O, matanong ko lang din, how do you call the study of blood? Pag tinanong sa board exam, that is hematology. So pag may phobia kayo sa blood, takot kayo sa blood, meron kayong hematophobia or hematophobia. Okay? So next, Sun-Moon-Earth alignment produces what kind of eclipse or eclipse? A, annular, B, partial, C, solar, D, lunar. SME, Sun, Moon, Earth. So the moon is in between the sun and the earth. So what type of eclipse is that? Of course, that is solar. So pag SM, solar. Pag SEM or SEM, lunar. Okay, SME, solar, SEM, lunar. So this is how it looks like, a solar eclipse where there is the sun here, the moon, and the SME. Okay? So pag tinanong din sa board exam, okay, for example, no, tatanungin sa inyo, how do you call the darker shadow during eclipse? The darker shadow is what we call the umbra. So darker shadow is the umbra, the lighter shadow is the penumbra. Darker shadow, umbra, lighter shadow, penumbra. Okay? So that is for the solar eclipse. Pag lunar eclipse, gaya ng sabi natin kanina, SUM. Sun, Earth, and the okay? Again, the darker shadow is the umbra, the lighter shadow is the penumbra. Darker umbra, lighter penumbra. Okay? So that is for lunar. Okay, so this is it, no? SME, solar eclipse, SEM, lunar eclipse. So pag tinanong sa board exam, anong phase ng moon? Okay? Nasang phase ang moon kapag nagkakaroon ng solar eclipse? Pag solar eclipse, the moon's phase is new moon. Okay? Solar eclipse, new moon. Solar eclipse, new moon. Kapag naman nagkakaroon ng lunar eclipse, ano ang phase ng moon? Lunar eclipse, full. Lunar eclipse, full. Okay? Para hindi nyo makalimutan, lunar, full, lunar, L, lunar, full lunar, full moon, lunar, solar eclipse. Okay? Natanong din sa board exam in the previous board, how many phases of the moon how many phases does the moon have? Yun. So ilan daw phases ang moon? So of course, ang isasagot natin doon, teachers, ay what? So answer, there are 8 phases of new moon, the waxing crescent, your first quarter moon, the waxing gibbous, your full moon, the waning gibbous, the last quarter, and your waning. Okay? So 29.53 days, no, is actually the lunar cycle. So almost 1 month. Kaya siya tinatawag na buwan. Kasi buwan ang tawag kasi isang buwan halos yung pag-revolve niya, no, around the Earth. Okay, the lunar revolution is almost a month. Kaya meron tayong 12 buwan sa isang taon to complete our 365.25 days. Kaya every 4 years nagkakaroon tayo ng leap year to have that which has 366. Yun yung mga basic concept. Huh? Okay, next question. Each cell contains how many chromosomes? A40, B44, C40, 46. Okay, syempre, this is a basic question for human anatomy and physiology. So that is 46. So 46 chromosomes in each cell of, so how many pairs? Pag yun naman yung tanong sa board exam, okay, there are 23 pairs of human chromosomes. Pag tinanong sa board exam, how many of these 23 pairs are body chromosomes or tinatawag na autosomes? Ang sasagot nyo is 22 pairs. So there are 22 pairs of body chromosomes or autosomes, and the remaining pair, which is the 23rd, okay, the 23rd pair is the sex chromosome. Remember, kapag sa babae, they have the XX chromosome. Pag lalaki, XY chromosome. Basta pag may lawit dito, no, lalaki, Y. XY chromosome, male, XX, female, sex. So remember, the XX sex chromosome and the XY sex chromosome actually is important in indicating, the sex, no, of the child being developed based doon sa fertilization ng eggs and ng sperms. Right? So last question, stored in thylakoids of chloroplast, which gives plant leaves. Plant leaves their green color. A. Xanthophylls, B. granum, C. chlorophyll, D. chromat. Okay, so which of this is the right answer? Of course, that is short chlorophyll are stored in the chloroplast, which gives our leaves the green color. Kasi yung green color, yun yung nare-reflect back to the atmosphere. Kaya yun yung nakikita ng ating mga mata. And these actually are stored in the thylakoids, no, of our chloroplast. So the chloroplast, remember, is the site of our photosynthesis. Ito, nangyayari yung photosynthetic process. The chlorophyll A is the primary pigment for photosynthesis. Right? So that is, no, our Gen Ed rationalization. So nakasampung tanong na naman tayo, and I hope tatandaan nyo itong mga basic concepts na to in preparation for your upcoming board exam. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel and keep holding the line, and I know you will pass the. Thank you very much until our next review session.